Biscuits. One word, two different meanings, its definition determined only by the Atlantic. Fascinating, right? But how did this one thing become two different things that quite literally stand an ocean apart? Quite the story, really. It all started back in 1773. Harry, the son of an influential British family, moved to the city of Boston at the behest of his father. Harry was to oversee his family's exports from the U.S. That's what his father told him, at least. In truth, Harry wasn't well loved by his family. A bit of a black sheep in their eyes, so of course his father jumped at the first opportunity to rid themselves of that particular stain. Harry, however, was actually quite lovely. Perhaps a little too optimistic by some standards, but that didn't stop him from always finding the best in people or his situation in life. He'd known that his family was casting him out, but he looked at it as his chance to start over, which would have been great had it not been for the relationship between Britain and the U.S. at the time. However, that didn't stop Harry from trying. He believed that a stranger giving him the cold shoulder was merely a friendship off to a rocky start. Despite his family's fortune, Harry arrived with barely enough coin for a slice of bread. He'd been offered a job as a server in a local pub near the harbor. He liked it. It gave him a chance to mingle with all manner of people. One night he overheard a group of locals discussing an upcoming party. He hadn't been invited per se, but if they didn't want him there, then why were they discussing it so openly? He'd spent the rest of the night in deep contemplation. He wanted to make a good impression after all. Eventually, he decided to bring the one thing that brought everyone joy: biscuits. He prepared a large batch, nestling them in a wicker basket, attaching a note stating, "Everyone loves biscuits. I hope you will too." He approached the ship, thinking to himself that it did seem a peculiar location for a party. Nonetheless, people are different, he supposed. He made it to the ramp when it dawned on him that something was wrong. He'd recognized the men from the other night, though they were dressed quite strange to him. They were shouting, and even worse, throwing all of the tea into the harbor. Odd, he thought. Ah, well, when in Rome, he said, then tossed his basket into the water following their lead. The next day he went to work and was overjoyed to find that the pub had started selling biscuits. At first, anyway. Then he got a closer look at the things. They were hideous, lumpy, swollen, even a bit soggy. He stormed into the kitchen. You can't sell these," he exclaimed. "These aren't biscuits. Biscuits are supposed to be—" The cook interrupted him. "Biscuits have been passed down through my family for generations, so don't go telling me what they're supposed to be." Harry shook his head. "These aren't biscuits. I just made some—" he began, when he noticed a very familiar, very wet basket in the corner. "Did you by chance fish that basket out of the harbor?" Harry asked. The cook just stared at him. "What basket?" he asked, the slightest hint of violence in his tone. "Yes, quite right," Harry agreed. "What basket indeed?" So yeah, that's how biscuits became biscuits on this side of the pond. Is that true, you ask? I don't know. Maybe. All I can say for certain is that this recipe is delicious. I mean, come on. Would I lie to you?